Topic 2 also talks about segmenting your customer base. We have to do this so we can understand who's our customer, and the more valuable a customer is, well, we might want to treat those customers differently. For example, if Amazon is your customer, you might treat them as your highest priority rather than the gas station down the street if they were also your customer. Because Amazon has more buying power. They may spend more money for every order, where the local gas station down the street might only spend $1,000 at a time or a couple $100, where Amazon might be spending thousands of dollars. And they're really adding to your bottom line. So how do we figure this out? Well, we need to segment our customers. So which customers are most important? We're going to divide them into A, B, and C. This is called the ABC classification. So we're going to look at percent of sales and percent of relationships. So classify based on sales. Pretty simple. What percent of total sales are they? So if we have 100 customers and we have 10 customers that are over $1 million, they might be the big spenders that we want to give a higher level of service to because they're spending so much money. If we're giving them a higher level of service, they might bring us more business. That's one possibility. So once we classify based on sales, we need to reclassify on strategic issues. What are we as a company trying to do? Are we trying to focus on the Fortune 500 companies, or are we trying to focus on the privately owned companies? Are we trying to focus on sustainable companies where we want to help them before others? Or are we trying to work with small businesses before we work with the large businesses? What is your company's strategic goals? So that's where our strategic issues come from. So our fulfillment objectives. We have our customer service. We have to focus on what our firm can do and that what we can do well, because that's what's going to please our customers. If we can't do it well, we might have to outsource it or find a way to compensate for not doing it well. But then we also have to look at our customer satisfaction here. We have to focus on understanding what the customer views as important. We can say that the paint on a car is the most important. Well, the customer might say, I don't really care what color or what paint you throw it on. I'm more concerned with the safety features of it. Does your company have a history of safety recalls? They might be concerned with that. And different people might have different opinions. A young family with young children might be really concerned with safety, where the person having a midlife crisis looking for a sports car or a motorcycle doesn't really care about safety features. They just want something that has a lot of engine power and gives them some freedom. That's what different customers view as important. So our customer success, what helps that customer succeed? If that customer is having a midlife crisis and they want a sporty car, and we're a company that can provide that to them, yes, we want to provide that to them. We want to make sure that happens. But we have to make sure our entire supply chain is geared towards making that customer succeed. Now think of any other company. Think of Starbucks. We want our customer, let's say a Starbucks, to have the best coffee that we can get. Well, that means the supply chain has to start looking for the best coffee beans. And then we need to figure out what's the best operation to roast those beans or do whatever we need to do to those beans to get the best product. And then get it to our stores so it can be served to the customer. So you see how the supply chain is a big supporter to satisfy the customer. But how do we get into the mind of the customer? Well, there's several techniques, and you've probably done them. I know at the end of every semester, you guys do a survey, the student evaluation of instruction. But there's other ones too. There's focus groups, there's expert panels, there's in-depth interviews, shadowing, and then there's ethnographic studies. So all of these can give you different levels of information, different quality of information. For example, a survey does not give you good information because you're limiting what the people can give you. 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. That's not a very good survey because, well, what one person's 5 might be another person's 3. So it's very subjective. But if you're doing an ethnographic study, well, that's the highest confidence you can get because you're actually living and interacting or observing in there. But each one of these has a cost. Surveys are cheap. You can go out right now, make a Google form, and send out a survey. But once you start going towards focus groups, expert panels, in-depth interviews, it starts to get more and more expensive. And depending on how in-depth you want to get with these areas, it gets pretty expensive. Could be a survey might just take your time. But if you're getting a focus group, well, you have people come in, you might buy pizza. Okay, so let's say you spend $100 for pizza. Well, expert panels. Okay, you might be paying airfare to bring in experts, or you're paying a hotel night in addition to meals. In-depth interviews, this might be a couple days, and you're probably paying for airfare, meals, and so on and so forth. Shadowing, well, you're probably sitting there yourself, spending your time watching somebody else do something, like a job shadow kind of thing. So you see how this is getting more and more and more expensive. Well, we have a framework for customer success. So on the left here, we have customer success factors. We either have a high confidence in them or a low confidence in them. And then we have distinctive company competencies. We either have a low number of them or a high number of them. So we want to be in the upper right. We're good at what customers value. Companies, when they think of, this product or service, they think of our name first. For example, why do we say go Google it instead of saying go look on the internet? Well, because Google...
Here's what I found on the web.
Oh, my phone heard me say go Google it. So, Google has one of the best search engines out on the internet. So, Google's, why we say Google? Why do we call it a Kleenex instead of a facial tissue? All these different things. It's becoming ubiquitous. It's everywhere. So, if our company is good at what the customers don't value, well, we need to either change the customer's mind. So we need to do a massive marketing campaign to get the customers to change what they value. Or we just have to stop doing what the customers don't value. But on the other end there, we're not good at what the customers value. Well, our options here are one of two things. We need to find different customers, or we need to build the new capabilities that our customer values. And we have a box here that says don't do. Don't be in this box as a company. You don't have any competencies and you don't have any success factors. Your company is probably going to be filing some court documents to file bankruptcy in the near future. And it's unfortunate, but some companies are like that. So, trying to make our company successful by knowing what our customers value is important. And we can make that happen in supply chain management by working through this. And we can take this information and make it even better for our operations.